Hi, this is Steve with the NSAF, and we're here once again talking about our 2021 FasTrak NSAF Indoor Southern Challenge, which we're looking very much forward to next February at the University of Houston. And here today we're with two of the, not just the Houston area's finest coaches, but two of the best coaches in the whole state of Texas and who have made a national impact as well. We've got Coach Lloyd Banks from Fort Bend Marshall, uh, boys head coach and winner of
Boys and girls head coach. Well, girls say boys and girls head coach at one point. He's boys now.
Okay. And four of the last 5A state titles in the UIL Texas State Track Meet. And then we've got Coach Shelton Irvin from Summer Creek, started the program back there in 2009, won the first state title in 4A in humble ISD history back in 2013 when he was the Texas Coach of the Year. And these two gentlemen, we've seen them at Texas State meets and beyond top level competition for a long time. And we're excited to talk with them both about this meet we've got coming up this coming winter. So gentlemen, tell us a little bit about what your thoughts were when you learned that Houston was going to be installing a new bank track after having a flat track for all these years. And when you learned about this big high school meet coming up this coming winter, what your reactions have been as this process has evolved. Let's start with you, Coach Banks.
Okay, cool. When I found out, I was more like finally, you know, I've always been a big proponent of track and field nationally, but I'm from Houston. So when people talk about, where a hotbed of track and field is, I always consider Houston as being, if not the best, most definitely top three. We talking about track, city, USA, and so forth and so on. So for us to be in a position to, have a bank track, in a nice location, at University of Houston, I was geeked. I was like, man, finally, we finally got one. And this will help us push the sport. And I was head over heels. I think we've been running at Carl Lewis for the longest, when he was a flat track in the whole nine. So when we got the bank, we were like, oh, it's most definitely going to be an event we participate in. And I'm excited about it, man. Like I said before, just anything to push the sport is a beautiful thing, especially in a place like Houston. We love it. We get us being as big as we are, we have the opportunity to have some of these other cities come in and partake. A lot of times you see a Carl Lewis, even when it was a flat track of Carl, Dallas, people come from Florida and Georgia and everywhere just to participate, because they knew that there was going to be some action here. And now for us to have, the facilities, take a bump up, it's a beautiful thing. And anything that, and I know I can speak for Twin when you say this, anything that we can do to push the sport forward, I know our city will do. And that was a step in the right direction.
And of course, Coach Irvin, you were telling me earlier that you're a Houston alum. And so this has to have, extra special meaning for you. And I'm going to show a few scenes from this track right here from the meets they've had over the first couple of years. Coach, tell us a little bit about what you thought when you first learned.
Extremely excited. So I can remember when the track was installed back in 1998. It was the first indoor track in the state of Texas before anybody else had an indoor track. And then, of course, A&M brought the first bank track, and then Texas Tech. And now the third bank track is going to be the University of Houston to compete and change things. So exciting time. We ran at the indoor track when it came about in 1998 when I was in high school. Traditionally, indoor track-wise, we used to travel to LSU because LSU had the other flat track. So it was only University of Houston and LSU as far as the indoor track and field scenes. And then occasionally you have individuals travel to Arkansas, which is obviously a little bit further drive for the state of Texas. But to have that bank track, and of course we followed the bank track when it bounced to Atlanta, and then when it had the meet in Dallas, and now for it to be stationary and homed at the University of Houston is extremely exciting. So as Coach Banks stated, we hope to continue to progress the sport and really build on that indoor season. A lot of fast marks, a lot of amazing marks comes out of the Carl Lewis Invitational when it comes to the high school meet, one of the top indoor track and field meets in the country, along with the A&M Invitation that they have, and Arkansas have some pretty amazing times in itself. So to be able to not have the times be converted, and now you just have a straight banked track where you can run some fast marks and some impressive time zone. It's exciting. The first couple of seasons, we got a chance to witness it. The kids are running pretty fast, and they've adjusted to the curves and the banks. I remember how it used to be foreign to the kids and used to have the individuals stumble in the curves and individuals run outside their lanes. I think the first time they had it at LSU, everybody got DQ'd because the judges was DQ'd crazy because kids couldn't stay in their lanes. But our athletes in the state of Texas have got acclimated and adjusted to it, even though they don't train on them. It shows you that track and field is about evolution, evolving, and getting bigger, faster, stronger, and adjusting to faster marks. So our athletes have done a great job of that in the state of Texas.
And now you've got a nice handful of meets starting from early January with the A&M meet and going all the way up to the beginning of the outdoor season, with our meet being February 6th and 7th, the first weekend of February. It's almost like you've got a season now, isn't it, Coach Banks?
Yeah. Like, like Coach Irvin was saying earlier, man, you had to travel a little bit to get some of those indoor meets in. And, we wouldn't really call it an indoor season. It was like, okay, hey, I know you guys want to compete a little bit. So actually I got to the point in the game to where it was like, okay, let me go ahead and fix my schedule to where my kids can compete and it wouldn't be a conflict. And we wouldn't have to worry about, injuries or anything of such. To make sure we stayed on the schedule as far as timing goes and where I wanted the kids to be at a certain part of the year. So again, a lot of my kids want to compete. They'll go to Arkansas when they might travel with their summer track team or their club team or whatever. And so for us now to have, again, like you said, a handful of meets right down the street is a bonus. I tell my kids all the time, hey, I don't have a problem with you competing. Let's just be smart about it, and now, like I said, us having those handful of meets at the, University of Houston and down the way in A&M, and that's a bonus for us. That's a plus.
I'm old enough to remember when University of Houston put their track in, and the entry fee was only $5 to run races. And to put a relay together was only $10. And of course, fast forward to 2020 now, the entry fees are $20 a piece. I say like $50 for a relay. So it shows you how much I know, right? The inflation over time for the indoor tracks, so the flat tracks. But it's a beautiful thing. And as one point that Coach Banks made is running smart and not over racing on indoor track, because you are in the midst of a training season and a cycle where Coach Banks and myself, we do a great job of monitoring how many races our kids do, how many rounds they do, and we're pretty planned out the races that the kids actually compete in the phase that we're in, where they might do a little bit over distance, or they might do a little bit of speed work, or they might get a hybrid, a little bit of both type situation. So it has to be some thought put into the racing when it comes to
absolutely. Because you let the kids do it themselves, man. They'll go to A&M around, run 2 rounds of 60 there, then come back next week, go to Carl, run 3 rounds of 60. I'm like, all right, man. Say we need to calm down a little bit, but but if you let the kids do that, man, they'll rock and roll and put themselves in a position they don't want to be in so early. So, but again, like you said, planning is huge. But again, it's very difficult to tell your kids not to go compete. So, I don't want to be the Grinch. So again, we sit down. I'm because there was a couple of times I told my kids, no, we're not running. I don't think you're ready. I have a lot of kids that play football. And they want to come out, last couple of years, we've been pretty successful. And we've been in the football season in late December. And I got kids that are giddy. Hey, I want to run next week. No, let's hold off on running. Let's wait on that. But if I let them do it, they'll go nuts. But it is very difficult to tell your kids that love to compete, man, to not compete. So instead of doing that, man, like I said, like Coach Irvin said, man, we sit down, put a plan together, and we try to execute it.
Coach Irvin, tell us a little bit about what life has been like at Summer Creek over the last end of last spring and beginning of this fall in terms of dealing with COVID and, both from an in-school academic perspective and an athletic perspective, what has it been like so far during this challenging
It's been
time?
hard. It's hard. It's been hard on everybody, our individual stakeholders. Even harder on Coach Banks because he got cheated out of another state championship. So to solidify and put himself in another atmosphere than anybody else with his ring that he was in position to earn again in May. And even harder for me because we worked ourselves back into position to be competitive.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening here. Hold on. Okay, sorry. I don't know how that came on, but go ahead.
Even harder for us because we worked ourselves back into position to be competitive at the state team championship level. We went through a time frame where we went through a new football coach and losing of athletes, and then the program going to other programs around near us. We established ourselves with a new head football coach in Kenny Harrison that was at PA Memorial, which is known for track and field. And we turned the corner the last couple of years since he's established and we're able to get those fast football guys or talented basketball guys and two-sport athletes to contribute with the track and field guys and be competitive when it comes to making a state championship run. And, of course, COVID ended that with the cancellation. So it's funny that you have myself and Banks on because we ran at the last meet together March 5th at the invitational that we held at my school, Generation Park Invitational, where we got a chance to see Banks. Klein Forrest, who's another individual that was going for the 6A state championship. So we ended with a pretty great meet, some competitiveness against some pretty solid schools. And we got the news on that Tuesday that we were shutting down and that COVID was coming in. So the kids have tried to push through it. Some of them try to train and compete during the summer. Academically, the online is challenging. I think, if anything, COVID taught us that kids are not quite ready for online learning. They're not as disciplined for online learning as we thought they would, even if they had the Wi-Fi and even if they had the laptops to get up and be disciplined like a grad student and just do the work that you're supposed to do is extremely tough to do.
What has it been like at Fort Bend Marshall, Coach?
Pretty much same thing, Coach. Again, man, that we ending off what we did. I thought that we were just rounding into shape. We were just rock and roll a little bit. Some of our football guys came out, and we were moving, moving pretty good. I think we finished the meet off
at 124.
Like 124 in the 4x2 and the 40 point in the 4x1, and we were kind of we were moving a little bit. I think with 316 mile relay, and we had some good times on the girls' side. The girls went 46. They were moving. They were 138, and I saw some good things happening there. The crazy part about it is, again, when we shut everything down, the culture. And I know Twin, the coach Irvin can say this also. Please forgive me for even saying Twin. I know him on a personal level, so forgive me Underwood on that. But no, man, a lot of our kids, when everything kind of shut down, the culture here has been, work. They love to put the work in and so on and so on. So throughout the summer, throughout, at the end of March and April and May, a lot of our kids, they never really stopped. They just held on hope that something would happen, that UL will fix it in some kind of way we could keep competing. And the kids kept pushing through. And, it was hard to see that class of 2020 graduate without having an opportunity to, compete for a championship. Their mindset was like, let's go get the championship. I want to end my senior season holding up another trophy. And they were primed and ready to do it, along with the girls also. That I had, like Coach Irvin said earlier, I had the opportunity to take over last year. And now I have a new title. I'm the director of track and field operations at the school. And I had the opportunity to hire a great women's coach by the name of Shahari Imwa, which she ran at the school, and she ran at UTSA and SMU. Her along with Brandy Cross did an awesome job developing our girls and putting them back in a national spotlight as they're supposed to be, along with my help. So I'm anxious and I'm antsy to see how that goes, that transition happens. Right now, we're just finishing a lot of the kids cross country. So I think, so actually tomorrow, matter of fact, we'll get a chance to start off-season track and field. And they're antsy, they're ready to rock and roll.
And Banks won't say it, but I'll say it because I'm a huge supporter of his program, and he's a huge supporter of my program. The 4x1 national record was going to go down in 2020, and that was the whole push that Marshall had, and getting athletes back from injury. And then the team that they had, they really was going to challenge going 39 mid, if not faster that year. And he had the pieces to do it. He had the marks early in the season to do it. And it was really a big goal of theirs coming into the year to take down that record, which individuals fell short in 39.87, 39.8, 39.9 previously with the teams, and really going to stretch out that zone and go for it.
Yeah, they were. I never want to be one of those guys who woulda, coulda, shouldas, but I really believe that this was the team to do it. We actually finished the season on 40.4, and this was the first week of March. And I was like, okay. And they were roundly in shape, and we won 124 earlier than we ever had.
I never ran that fast that early before.
Yeah.
I followed the program since forever.
Yeah,
and,
and that's without a couple of pieces. So I was excited to know that we had a couple of key cogs. The Stubblefield didn't run on it, and Garrett didn't run on it. I had 221 low guys that didn't run on the 124 relay. And I was excited. I kept saying to myself, wow, I had no idea what we could run. I really didn't know. I always tell you the ceiling. There was no ceilings with this particular group. And, awesome group, man. I love them to death. And with this group they have coming up, they have a chip on their shoulder. All they keep hearing about was 2020 and how good 2020 was. So their mindset is, we don't want to be the group that falls back. And they've been working their butt off. And I'm antsy and I'm anxious to see them get around the track a little bit. So I'm excited. I'm a lover of track and field. I could do this thing year round. So, but I'm really anxious to see what this group does. And we always talk about together when we get together, the program is not built on individuals that are talented. It's all about gritty, tough individuals. And I listen to a lot of coaches speak about toughness as it pertains to track and field. And when you talk about a team sport, I believe that it is important. And that's why when I talk about as far as, like, for example, I've always believed that the mile relay should be the catalyst of your team. If you have a strong, I'm not saying good, they don't have to be good, and I have to drop major time and so forth and so on. But if you're mile relaying kids, those 6, 7, 8 kids you deem them who might be on your 4x4 at the end of the year, if they set the tone for practice and how things are going to be throughout your program, I believe you got something cooking there. Because again, I've always believed in having tough individuals. I've seen a lot of talented individuals run slow under the lights. When they're supposed to run 21 this and 48 this or whatever the case may be, and they fall short. And I think that, especially being in the greater Houston area, where track and field is bananas, having the opportunity to run against all these great teams every week, there's no ducking and dodging in the greater Houston area. Yeah. You're going if you even believe that you're going to do that, then you probably should be hitting the program in Houston, because you're going to have to see the best of the best, and you want that. You want to develop your kids, and you want them to go compete against the Summer Creeks, the Shadow Creeks, PM Memorials, and Manville.
Forest, the Manvilles.
Yeah, man. You want to go. You want your kids that want to go see those individuals. You know what I mean? And I love it. I love it, man. We always. I know for the last couple of years when we're going out to see Twin and them, man, at certain meets, and I love it, man. We bring out the best of us because we all up at night, all of us. I don't care what anybody says. We're all up at night trying to figure out ways to make sure that when we tangle, man, we put out a good product. And there's a huge respect for Coach Smith and Coach Irvin. I mean, everybody in the Greater Houston area, man. It's love, but best believe we're all competitors as coaches as well, But and again, man, the state of track and field in the area, man, it's we're in a good place right now, and I'm glad to say that I'm a part of it.
Coach Irvin, who are some of the kids we should watch for on your boys and girls teams this coming spring and winter and spring?
We fortunate to have quite a bit of talent back, and of course we lost a ton of talent with the 2020 class, but We've now got the #1 returning 110 hurdler in the nation, in Barry Richards, who's returning. He went, Banks is talking about split times, but he went 13.8 in March before it, it's warming up at that time frame in Texas. And then we have another 14.1 and a 14.5 back, and some guys throwing 160. You had a guy go 6.8 that's returning, then another 6.4 guy that's returning, and then a couple. Darius Rainey, who's a 154 half miler that's returning. So we have a lot of talented athletes, and of course the girls have Dynasty McClendon, who's one of the top athletes in the nation.
53 second 400.
Exactly, she's extremely talented. I think she's a 23-1 200-meter runner. So she has a new coach in Ahmad Roper, who's a former stellar athlete himself out of Hastings High School, who put up some extremely good times and splits. Himself, that's now training her. So Dynasty is getting some great off-season weight room training and some good speed work underneath his program, and we could see her take off and put up some unbelievable marks if we're able to have a season, or when we have a season.
Let's speak that.
When we're able to have a season.
Speak that into existence, right?
That's what's going to happen.
Definitely a lot of talent coming back, even with Morgan Taylor, who's a 43.3 300 hurdler that Coach Roper have for the girls. So a ton of talent. Looking for an exciting year and compete with the likes of Coach Banks again.
We got to rock.
Coach Banks, you said your kids are going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder this spring, right?
Yeah. This is the the 20. I tell everybody, the 2020 was a great group. They won as the catalyst for 2018 when they were sophomores. They won a state championship, and they came back and did it in 19. That group, the catalyst of that group, they won 40 18 times within a 2-year span. And that's not even talking about 2020. What could have happened in 2020, and won 2024 a couple of times, and they were looking forward to being super. So they're 21 and 22. They're looking like like the little brothers, and they've been looking for the opportunity to show and prove. And like I told them, it's their time. You got to get exactly what you want. There's no more Vonne Chains. Malik and Seal are gone and Stubb gone. So, there's no more buffers. There's no safety net. You got to go. And they understand that. And I think, again, biggest thing is just waiting to see them execute, waiting to see them go. I think Garrett Wilkins, one of my sprint hurdlers, I think he's one to have an awesome year. He already has PRs of 21.2 and 10.5 and 100. Awesome kid, Chris Brinkley, who won 37.4 in the threes as a sophomore. So he's #1 in the nation in his class in 300 hurdles. Those two are going to lead the boys. And on the girls' side, man, we got Cecily Williams, 55.2 and a quarter, 24.5 in the 200. She's a junior. She's going to make a lot of noise. She's going to make a lot of noise this year, along with Teresa Green and Tyra Johnson. Tyra Johnson, #1 in the nation in the hurdles, in the 100 hurdles as well on the girls' side. And Tyra, I think she went 13.8, I think at the Summer Creek meet. So we were just rounding the table with her also. I think the girls are going to do an awesome job again. The middle of their football 1 is back 2 and 3, and I think having Janai Williams on the end, who PR last year, which went 12.2 and 25 low, adding her that she had a great summer. Watching her continue to progress and grow, I love it. As a coach, man, you love that. You love watching kids. Progress. You watch them development, and not so much athletically. Them as just individuals growing up and learning how to lead, learning how to move. I always laugh and joke. I say, move like a D1 athlete if you want to be one. We tease every now and then about that kind of stuff, but they take it to heart. They take it to heart, man. They watch what they eat, sleep, the whole nine. I wasn't even this disciplined as a youngster. But a lot of the kids in the program know the expectations, so they move accordingly. I got to tell people I really don't have to police the kids as much as I used to, because everyone knows this is the expectation. We don't talk about effort. You know, we're not going to talk about that's just not going to happen. If we have to talk about effort, then you don't need to be on the track. So I'm loving where we are right now, program wise, and man, we're just going to keep pushing it.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. We're looking very much forward to seeing both of you and your teams coming up this February at the FasTrak NSAF Southern Challenge.
Steve, can I say one thing?
Sure.
For the indoor track and field season, we just hope to continue to partner with the summer track clubs and then the private coaches that are out there to form a great product and then have the best interests of the kids in mind. Obviously, the kids are technically in high school season in Texas. But Banks and myself do a great job of collaborating with the summer track clubs. Banks has his own club, and then we have our personal trainer coaches that all are working with the same athletes during that bubble of January to February to make sure the kids are getting indoor experience. And it's a relationship thing, it's a communication thing, and it's obviously having the kids' best interests in mind. So we've been doing a great job of that over the last couple of years. We have a kind of bumps every once in a while, but usually with communication, we get back on the same page when it comes to the coach. You have something to add to that, Coach Banks?
No, I'm saying that's key. It's key. Like you said before, man, communication is key. You know, a lot of my hurdlers, they'll train with outside coach Austin. They'll get a chance to train with Will Collins a little bit at FASU. Again, at the end of the day, like I said, you know, when talking to those individuals, it's always the kids' priority, period. You know, no egos. Let's make sure that we're doing the best for the kids. You know, because at the end of the day, it's about the program. You know, it's about the kids in the program. So again, if we have opportunity to get them some good work, you know, again, biggest thing is make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to development. And for the most part, man, we don't really have any issues. You know, like Coach Irvin will tell you, man, we work with the Wings and CO Stars and track teams, Grady Houston. Yeah, Grady Houston. So again, it's nothing but a phone call away. Hey, what's going on, Coach? What you thinking about? What you looking at? I want Coach, you know, I'm thinking about having such run this. Cool. How about this? Blah, 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 blah. And, you know, it's really not an issue when communication is fluid, you know? So, you know, again, at the end of the day, man, it's about the kid, man. You know, it's about the kid and making sure that, you know, they're not put in an awkward situation, you know, individually and for the team also.
Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you folks and your teams and the FasTrak in February.
Thanks,
Coach Underwood. Appreciate you. Thanks for having us.
Okay.
All right. Coach Irvin, have a good one.
You too.
All right,
thanks a lot.
All right, man. Have a good one, Coach.